Patriots, just because we still have some freedoms, it doesn't mean that we are winning. Recently, I've witnessed more and more the damage that the Obama administration has done, and my morale is definitely taking a beating. In the past, the Republicans have let us down and did not defend our freedoms enough. Those who do not know better elected Obama despite all the red flags. Just as an example, I will talk about a friend of mine. He was surrounded by liberals and white man-haters in his neighborhood. The justice system did nothing to provide him the protection they promised. If he fights back the way he needs to, he'll end up in jail. Finally, he decided to move because his girlfriend was having a hard time coping. They had always talked about buying land in the middle of nowhere and starting a farm growing fruits and vegetables. He found the perfect land, not in a flood zone, 5 acres, agricultural, and in the middle of nowhere. So he bought it. When the builder was waiting for the permitting, my friend found out there was a law about turtles. They were protected turtles living on his land. No problem, right? Move the turtles. Nobody wants to hurt a turtle, whether they are protected or not. Then he found out that each turtle would cost about $4,000 to legally move. The money was tight for building, and this was going to be an added expense of $60,000 that he didn't have. He could have easily moved all of those turtles himself, but the government wouldn't let him. Then they asked him if there were oak trees on his property. Are you serious? The oak trees are protected too? There weren't any oak trees on his property, but if there were, then he would not have been able to touch them. In other words, he wouldn't be able to build his dream home. If the trees were where he needed to build, then they would have prevented him from building there. So, who exactly owns this property? The government or him? There's limited space on property, especially if the property is narrow, so this would have caused him even more angst. The laws are in place, and they are saying this. If you achieve the American dream of owning property, well, the government is going to punish you and do all it can to destroy your dream, so you can't build on it. It does the same with taxes. The more you make, the more you pay, which is unfair. Anyway, in a nutshell, this land was being turned into conservation land by forcing all these rules on it. That is called a covert land grab, and it could bankrupt a person. This is where conservatives and crazy liberals differ. If your dream is to save the turtles, then we want your dream to succeed. But don't force it on us. If you want to save the turtles, buy your own land and put them there. Offer to remove them from building sites, but don't force your opinions about turtles on me. This does not have to be a battle. Just a side note, I like turtles, but the left has made it illegal to pick a turtle up out of the road, which would mean saving their life, because they are so controlling. These laws are not meant to save turtles. They are meant to bankrupt us and give government control over us. They want us building in the cities next to their crazy followers and then committing suicide from being driven crazy. If your American dream is to save the oak trees, then buy land and plant or place oak trees on it. Don't force it on me. That way, both our American dreams can come true. You don't have to do one thing at the expense of the other. But socialists just won't get along. The turtles and the trees are just a facade. Americans cannot live with socialists because the socialists think they know better about everything and are constantly trying to control us. I say enough already. We need to educate people on what is going on so we can stop it. President Trump cannot do this on his own. He needs our help, and I hope that all the patriots out there will consider running for office. In the district I live in, not one Republican ran for one of the offices that was open. I didn't know until it was too late. Please, don't think you have to have a degree or money. Right now, we need candidates. Don't quit your day job until you win. Just get on the ticket. No need to advertise. Another warning. My father-in-law works in a business that involves rubbing elbows with the elite. He would go out to California on business, and the CEOs of companies and the politicians, they all have call girls and boys on their payroll. They are exactly as President Trump describes. The women will let you do whatever you want to them. Many look innocent but aren't. They will tell you that they are very discreet, but you will eventually find out that they are only discreet as long as you do as they say when the time comes. The sad part is that they use children too. Those monsters that are doing this to our precious children need to die. But they control the big cities in California and in Chicago. No doubt in other cities too. Politicians and people who have fallen for it are not strong enough to allow themselves the public humiliation of their wrongdoing, so they comply. I say quit or go public to end it. If you are new to politics, they will use multiple venues to control you. Men, women, children, drugs, fetishes, extortion, stealing, bribery, etc. So I beg you, don't give in. Pay attention, be sharp, and just avoid the appearance of evil. Be honest. Keeping a body cam on you rolling at all times could help prove stuff if it isn't illegal in that state. But for the sake of our country, whatever you do, don't give in.